Welcome to SportsTernity podcast. We talk about all current events with sports for athletes, for young athletes. I started this because a lot of people are like, it should be a fraternity, sorority for athletes. A lot of things are going towards social media and it's going away from the typical management agent type of flow. So this right here, you're getting everything in one. You can get training, you can get advice, and just be able to present yourself better to colleges, high schools, and represent yourself better. So with me right now, I have
Adiko Kaziboni. I currently work at Rosemont College as academic coordinator for student athletes. I also am in a master's program for higher ed, student affairs administration. Before that, I was a teacher for about 10 years, high school teacher with business and technology.
Okay. What made you get into this?
So I always enjoyed working within education, just like working with young adults. But I think I actually got into it because of sports. So I got done playing college soccer, and I always kind of knew I wanted to do something working with young adults. And one of my coaches, actually, who I played for, had me come coach them at a high school that I was coaching at when I was still playing in college. That's how I got into coaching. But then after that, I kind of stuck with it. And when I got done with college, I was like, you know what? What's a way I can actually stay work with young adults? And I went back for my master's degree. That was like a teaching certificate, like teaching license. So really I was going more for the teaching license. But it just happened to also have a master's degree connected with it too. So once I got done with a lot of things that I wanted to do within teaching and moved over here in Pennsylvania, I wanted to transition over to more student advising with student athletes, because I realized, kind of like we were talking about, a lot of the student athletes don't always see themselves as something besides an athlete. Wow. So I wanted to connect with students, especially young adults, and show them that they're more than just an athlete. You know, they can do more than just do sports. There's more to them besides what they're doing on a court or on a field.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Do you have a website or email that you can be contacted?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm more email. I think I would want to have like a website set up once I kind of have more of a defined space that I want to specialize in within student advising. I know I want to work with student athletes, but I also know I like to work with just like everyday students. But like in terms of like email, people can always like reach out at arikoekaziboni@gmail.com. So I mean, that's usually the one that I check all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Today's topic: what are your thoughts on the transfer portal? And what I mean by that is the most current event that's happening right now is Deion Sanders left Jackson State, went to Colorado. A lot of mixed feelings, a lot of people hurt by it, a lot of people affected by it in so many different ways. So you have a lot of kids that actually lost scholarships by Deion going to Colorado. And now his players are allowed to enter transfer portal, and other players from other teams that actually committed and were committed to playing for a college team are leaving that because of Deion and the spotlight that he's bringing now to Colorado. So where is that putting other schools, and how does that affect other players, do you think? And you like, do you have an issue with it? Do you think it's kind of like?
So for me, I guess it also goes back to like the need part of like what's the individual player's need, like why are they moving to a different place, right? In my opinion, I think Deion Sanders has to be able to do what's best for him, because I think like I read he had only planned on being at Jackson State for maybe 2 years. I think that's what he had agreed on initially with the athletic director. So I think it is important for someone like him to be able to move to something different, especially when he did such a great job. In my opinion, I think he did a great job at the school, brought attention to a school that maybe before him, I don't know if too many people really paying attention to that school.
Except for, I think, drill team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But in terms of like that, when you think about football, right? Like, I don't think people are really thinking about them too much in a way that you see them on ESPN as much as you did, right?
Brought a lot to the HBCUs by that,
for sure.
because now I heard a lot of other former NFL players that actually going to HBCUs because now a couple of them got hired. So that is a benefit.
So I think he did a good enough job of like bringing attention to things, making sure like that the needs that were at the school that needed to be addressed, those things were starting to get addressed. You know, people are actually paying more attention, like thinking, okay, I'm actually want to go to this school. I think in my opinion, a guy like a Deion Sanders should be able to make moves for him, his own career, his family. Obviously, it affects a lot of different athletes, because now some athletes who are Jackson State are now going with him, and other people. It makes a lot of things happen, but people should be able to make a decision on something, right? People should be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to move to this school because this person is someone that I wanted to play for, or I want to move to somewhere different because maybe this is not someone I wanted to play for. I do think people should have the ability to make those choices. I just hope that people are making the choices for the right reasons.
Good point.
Yeah.
Great point. Because to me, it's kind of sending a bad message to our younger youth.
Yeah.
From my point of view, what I've been watching, I've been seeing a lot of athletes transfer schools.
Yeah.
And get out of schools because they're just not fighters, or they just don't want to fight. Like, all right, I'm gonna say two instances. For one, I actually like what Jalen Hurts did, because I felt as though he should have been the starter at Alabama, and I think Nick Saban did him very wrong.
Okay.
Years he always came in. He got people out of jams and got put right back on the bench. I didn't think he deserved it. So for him leaving there and going to Oklahoma, he deserved it.
Yeah,
he deserved it. But I've seen other quarterbacks just transfer because, before they didn't even want to like compete for the job.
Yeah.
They didn't even show like, look, I'm the better man from this job.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Oh, I might not get it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to another school.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's a bad message. And then if you're going for the right reasons, if it's a better opportunity for you, which I don't know how somebody leaving Clemson and then going to Colorado will be a better opportunity for your pride. I don't understand how it would be, but you should stick with. You're committed. You're committed.
Yeah.
You committed to, let's just say, you committed to a Jackson State. You went there, you committed. Stick it out, play.
Yeah.
Players make teams better.
Yep.
Player makes players better.
Absolutely.
A man has to be a man at some point. I make this commitment, I have to see this out. As soon as something gets dark or it doesn't go your way, I'm going the opposite way. I'm bouncing around till I just think that sends a bad message to the younger youth, and they continue a bad cycle or start a new cycle that's even worse.
Yeah, and that even happens, I'd say, even before college. So I've been around high school settings where kids are on a basketball team, and then it doesn't work out for them, right? So they move to a different school because they think, okay, this coach doesn't like me, so I'm going to go to this other place. But then they go to another place, and it's the same thing. And they end up going to like 3 different schools by the time they even get done with high school. And like you said, it's about committing to things, right? It's about, okay, if you're in one space, if things are not working out, is it really the coach who doesn't like you? Is it really the other players who don't like you? Or is it maybe more, like you said, you're not necessarily in that fight mode where you learn how to stick through things when they're tough and you kind of work your way through. But also, nothing ever happens great like from the start. Like I think you have to work on things, and maybe on your second or third year things really start to like click, right? But when you bounce around after 1 year and go to something different, and then go to something different after the second year, and then you're on a third team in 3 years, sometimes some kids are even on more schools in 3 years, it doesn't really teach young people how to just like stick through things. And I always think that athletics is like a little vehicle that we use to kind of teach us how to interact outside of athletics, right? So if an athlete doesn't know how to stick through things within athletics,